Hello! In this fourth video on constructing the helicopter cockpit drone rig, we're building the collective lever for the up and down movement of the drone. And unlike a real helicopter, there's no throttle control on this collective, so it's a pretty simple control with one potentiometer. I previously covered the overall design along with the cyclic and the rudder pedals, plus dismantling the DJI controller and building the control panel. Also, in future videos, I'll be converting it to use as a flight sim rig to fly X-Plane and even Xbox. Anyway, on with the build. And the first thing to do is actually sit in the Playseat and work out the dimensions of the collective control. I made a basic mock-up using cardboard and copied the shape onto a piece of 1.2mm aluminium ready for cutting out. In retrospect, it would have been better to choose a much thicker material, but it'll do for the prototype. I'll do a much better engineered version in the future, once I've got the whole rig working. So once I'd cut out the basic shape, I marked the holes with a centre punch, drilled everything according to the plans I had in my head, and bent the aluminium to fit the cardboard template. I suppose these days I should get a bit more up to date and start 3D printing some of these parts, but nothing beats a good solid piece of metal, especially as the whole idea of the rig is to replicate the controls of a real aircraft as closely as possible. The next step is to build the business end of the collective. I cut a piece of square section aluminium bar and drilled an 8mm hole all the way through. I added a bicycle handlebar grip, which will do for now, but I probably need to make a mod in the future to add a potentiometer here for the twist throttle control on the end of the collective. It's not needed here for controlling the drone, but I do plan to convert the whole rig into a flight sim cockpit for X-Plane and Microsoft Flight Simulator, so it will be handy to have the throttle control then. Now with the basic assembly bolted in place, it seems to work pretty well. And I've added a spring to take some of the weight of the lever so it naturally sits in the centre of its travel. Because unlike a real helicopter, where the collective will be at the bottom of its travel before startup, with the drone I need the collective to sit midway in its travel so there's equal distance above and below the centre point. If you imagine the DJI controller joysticks, they all centre on 0, with equal amounts of movement either side or up or down. As you can see during calibration, all the controls centre on 0 and need to go to 100% at each end before the unit will complete the calibration. Otherwise, it will just keep beeping and you won't be able to go flying. Here you can see the 10K potentiometer and the little blue radio control servo lever I've used, plus the slot cut in the aluminium bar. And I've wired up the potentiometer to connect via 3 wires of the 5-pin JST connector to the DJI controller on the homemade control panel. So the collective works pretty well, although I probably need to adjust the sensitivity on the DJI Fly app. Anyway, that's the basic construction done for the prototype, although there are plenty of future modifications and refinements I can do to make it work more smoothly, and I'll cover these in later videos, along with full plans and circuit diagrams on my Patreon channel. So see you in the next video, where we'll calibrate the controls and go for our first test flight.